Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today's topic is something which was formulated by Igor Ansoff in 1957. He was an expert mathematician as well as a corporate business manager, and he published his thought on what could be the possible ways to strategize for the growth of a company. The basic principles are still relevant for us today. So this is called as the Ansoff matrix. And we're going to be talking about the Ansoff matrix in the context of the automotive industry, an industry which is over 130 years old. So let's take a look. How does the Ansoff matrix apply to the automotive industry today? So this is a 2 by 2 matrix. On the x-axis, we have products. On the y-axis, we have markets. So, products versus markets. So, this is one comparison. And as we compare products and market, we need to introduce the element of time. So when we consider the dimension of time, then broadly speaking, we can divide products as well as markets into two segments: existing or old products, existing or old markets, new products or new markets. And while we compare products and markets, if we take the x and the y axis, 0 increasing intensity, 0 increasing intensity, then whatever actions we come up with based on this framework will carry a certain amount of increasing risk. Increasing in what way? Increasing in this direction. So this is the weightage of risk that we can also apply. But before we go there, let's try to understand how the Ansoff matrix has been put forth. So if we consider the automotive industry, and let's simply take India as an example. We know that in 91, the market economy of India was liberalized, which means that prior to 91, companies could not freely enter India without very detailed licensing processes set out by the government, and therefore pre-91 was called as the license Raj. And post 91, when the economy was liberalized, foreign investors were able to enter India, make investments and manufacture, produce and distribute. One such example of a joint venture which happened between the government of India as well as and Suzuki Corporation of Japan was Maruti Suzuki. So today, as we see, what is the scenario with the automotive market? So you can see here, for all products and all market, for the market segment of small cars, example Maruti 800 as an example, the strategy is to penetrate. That means in order to grow existing products in an existing market, India is a very large market for small cars. And the reason for that is the penetration per thousand population of cars is extremely low compared to the advanced economies in the world. Therefore, there is a huge scope for penetration using existing products which are affordable by the Indian middle class and converting two-wheeler owners into first-time car buyers. So that market is what Maruti 800 tapped, and that market in the variants of Maruti 800 continues to grow via penetration, deeper and deeper penetration into the market and length and breadth of the country with Maruti showrooms and selling the small car in various forms, in various variants to the Indian family member. So that is a fine example of market penetration strategy being deployed. Now, we saw in the 90s, there was the incumbent Maruti Suzuki and a new entrant which came into India to challenge the challenger, and that was Hyundai. And Hyundai brought its tall boy model called Santro. It was a brilliant innovation, a car that is compact yet powerful, roomier to accommodate the Indian family as well as the luggage, and it was trendy. They chose Shah Rukh Khan as a brand ambassador and rode the wave of Bollywood-based star appeal of Shah Rukh Khan very well to develop the market for a new design which was new to India by the product called Hyundai Santro. At that time, Maruti Suzuki 800 and Zen were the only variants, and WagonR was a response to Hyundai Santro, and Hyundai Santro did very well, but they had to develop the market. They were present globally, they were entering India, that means they were looking for a new market to enter, and they had an existing product. Santro was an established product in other countries, and that's how they entered with Hyundai Santro, by developing the Indian market for Hyundai Santro. And their success is, all of us have seen their success over the last 2 decades. So that's an example of market development. Now, let's look at new products for old markets, right? Now, because of the drive towards sustainable development goals, planet action, and anti-pollution mindset which is required today, bringing down the carbon footprint, automotive industry was forced to rethink the energy which is required to power the powertrain of their vehicles. Therefore, electric vehicles, plug-in electric vehicles, and hydrogen fuel cell based vehicles, biofuels, all of this new emerging powertrains had to be developed. This is a recent phenomena, and that was required. New product development and new platform development was required. And this change we started to see after 2010. And today, almost all of the automotive players in the world have invested heavily into new product and platform development, which will be green, zero carbon footprint, mission zero, vision zero. And that is how new products need to be developed in order to address old markets. That means existing automotive market which is transitioning because of the push towards planet Earth and planet action that we need to take. Now, there is also a very rapid and visible transformation happening in this 130-year-old automotive industry, and that is everybody's diversifying. That means they are not only coming up with new innovative products, but they're also getting into new innovative markets, creating market segments. And these new market segments have emerged after the launch of two things. The internet economy in 1999 started by Mr. Bill Gates commercializing public internet for commercial activities, and 2007 smartphones being launched with internet access touchscreen smartphones. So this is what I call the next mobile is the automobile. Because of these changes, the automotive industry is now moving towards becoming a fully connected, software-driven platform service provider, and you can avail mobility as a service, product as a service, platform as a service, connected 24/7 in almost any country in the world in the near future. Today, it's already available in the advanced economies of the world, and in the emerging markets, the infrastructure and the market is being created. So, how is that possible? The strategy is to diversify. Diversify and transform the traditional legacy structures into a new smart mobility solutions based business model. So the traditional automotive industry was based on three tiers. At the top you had the original equipment manufacturer assembling in the name of a brand, and they were assembling body, interior, chassis, electronics, electrical, powertrain, and now software, BICIP. And they were assembling from tier 1 companies, and then tier 1 companies were manufacturing these subsystems from a ecosystem of tier 2 contractors, subcontractors. And this structure, pyramidal structure, was evolved almost just in time with the principle of continuous improvement and zero defect to produce world-class automobile. And this structure now is undergoing a transformation and becoming a smart mobility solutions provider, completely software driven. It is a software defined car. It's a software defined truck. It's a software defined bus. All connected to the cloud with edge intelligence, having more than 200 million lines of code, 125 to 150 electronic control units, at least 2 SIM cards, one for the infotainment and navigation, and the other to get all data from the connected vehicle onto the back end of the OEM and the tier 1 company. So this is the diversification strategy which most of the automotive companies in the world have already invested over the last 2 decades. So now let's come back to the risk analysis. As you can see, the risk that Maruti 800 took was minimal. in penetrating an existing market with an existing product. The risk that Hyundai Santro took was towards the development of a market by careful market analysis. Entering the market, such as India, was the risk that they took, but that risk paid off well. So it is a medium risk because they had an existing product to play with. Customized, the storytelling was customized using Shah Rukh Khan. And the risk of developing new platforms with high investment, with no large markets in sight. The new product developments of EV, plug-in EV and hydrogen fuel cell based powertrains. This is high risk strategy, but an essential one, because even though this is high risk, this is what will be mainstream. This will become old like Maruti 800 in about a decade or so. And then finally, diversifying into software based architectures rather than pure mechatronic assembly lines. This is what is again high risk, but essential to enter the new age of smart mobility solutions, providing connected services, product as a platform, software as a service, and experience economy and on-demand economy that exists in most advanced markets in the world today. So this is an example of Ansoff matrix, which helps us to structure our thinking, and using the automobile or the automotive industry, we were able to put together a experience-based understanding of the real world. And such critical thinking models is what we need to bring in even if we are mentoring a startup. Because entrepreneurship is all about execution. But execution without a clear mental thought process, a systematic thought process, without a clear vision, is unlikely to scale. So, I hope you learned something from today's session. I enjoyed presenting this to you. Thank you.